guys, Mark Smith, JBS Training Group, out here on the long range today, and I figured I would go over some match stage stuff that you might see at a like a DMR match or a gas gun match that I think slows some people down and they don't really realize it, potentially, right? And it's just a couple of tips and tricks for being able to shoot quicker, being able to shoot sooner based on how you're setting up the gun for any particular stage. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to be using the 300-yard target and the 500-yard target. So those are 200 yards apart, two totally separate holes. If you have to do this, I think the biggest mistake that people make is they try to dial each and every target, right? So because dialing takes time, right? So I shoot the 300, or buzzer goes off, I shoot the 300, I dial to the 500, shoot it. I dial back to the 300 hold, shoot it, so on and so forth until the stage is done, and you've wasted a lot of seconds just dialing on the dial. Now, why do we do that? Well, we do it because we like using the center of the reticle instead of the hash ticks for holds, because it's just easier to find sooner and it's easier to confirm without having to count through the mills and things like that. So obviously we want to use the center if we can, but it don't necessarily mean we have to, and this is all based on target size and distance potentially. At 500, that is a, I believe that is a 15 by 15 square. So it's a, you know, not an easy target, but it's not a really hard one either. I'm okay with holding on something like that. That doesn't really scare me that much. So to affect a quicker overall stage performance, I'm going to dial a little bit and hold a little bit. So, but I want to do all my dialing not on the clock. So how am I going to accomplish this? I know that for 300 yards, the hold for the gun that I'm going to be shooting is 0.94, right? Well, I'm in 1/10 mil increments, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to dial a mil onto that thing because I like whole numbers. The math is easy. I know that my 500-yard hold is 3.4 mils. So instead of having to get deep into the reticle all the way down towards 3.5 mils, I'm going to dial that 1 mil on here. That way I can hold center and make easy mode on my 300-yard target. And now I've only got to hold 2.4 mils for the 500-yard target because I've taken a mil and dialed it into the scope. So I've got my hold for 300 already dialed in. All I've got to do now is take that away from the 3.4 mil hold, which is 2.4. And now I'm not digging as deep into the reticle to be able to do this. So a little thing like that is something that can save you a lot of time. For the purposes of demoing this, man, I'm just going to shoot 300, 500, change positions, 300, 500, and show you what I'm talking about. We'll do it with dialing both of them, and then we'll do it with just dialing the 300 and leaving it dialed the entire time. And I'll show you what that looks like. All right, y'all, so this will be the first run at it. I'm going to dial for each individual target, and we'll see how that works out. So I'm going to be dialing to 0.9 for the 300-yard target and 3.4 for the 500-yard target, and then switch positions, dial it back, all that kind of stuff. See what the time shakes out to be. So here we go. Hopefully this wind don't mess me up too bad, but it probably will. No problem. Stand by. All right, total time, 27.12. 27.12. So now we're going to go ahead and just set 0.9 on the gun. I know I said earlier in the video it was 1. It's 0.94. I'm going to go ahead and go to the rounding side of the house. I'll go ahead and do 0.9. Neat thing about doing 0.9 is my hold is now going to be 2.5, right? 2.5. So I'm going to hold center for 300, hold 2.5 for the 500-yard target. We'll see how that shakes out. Remember, initial time 27.12, dialing for each target. All right, y'all, so we're going to run the same stage, same gun setup, same everything. Only this time I've got my 300-yard hold dialed into this, and I'm going to hold for the 500-yard target because it's forgiving enough to allow me that swag factor. I'm totally comfortable doing that. So we're going to see what kind of time eliminating dialing from the equation saves us. And we'll get that going. Here we go. Stand by. Good. All right, so total time on that, 1661. 1661, that's a tremendous amount of time savings just in this little short stage. When you're dealing with those 120-second par stages, eliminating dialing if you can by working some math and kind of thinking about how you can use your reticle to your advantage is a tremendous benefit. So I would just implore you to take note of that. Little tip trick that I've learned along the way from those that came before me, and figured I'd pass that on to you, man. Anytime you can save where you're not shooting is good time saved. So other than that, that's what I got for you, man. Mark Smith, JBS Training Group.